that's true. Naked Palpatine.
Oh, you pick that one. Fresh out of the clone tank, nude Palpatine is my
Well, that's the first thing I think of when you say Dark Empire Palpatine.
Hello everybody. I need a weapon. And let us return to the Forerunner era with some short stuff. So, first off, and this should be fairly easy, I'll leave a link in the description so you can listen to it. There was something extra that came with Halo Silentium, which there was a bunch of these symbols in some of the chapters of Silentium, and you could go to the Halo website at the time, put those codes in, and it would provide you like 40 minutes of a audio sort of epilogue to Silentium. Now, I don't think those are really on the Halo website anymore, but luckily YouTube exists, so there's like hundreds of videos on the full Coda of it, and it's just a little extra thing that's sort of an epilogue to the Silentium story. We learn that Riser, the little Florian human, survived the firing of the Halo arrays. He was one of the humans that got to be preserved and brought back to Earth and everything. So he got a happy ending. We also learned that the Isodidact survived, that he did not die. The Isodidact, being of course born stellar. What happens to him? We don't really know, but he does survive the events of the trilogy. Then in Halo Fractures, which is a short story collection, we have Defenders of the Storm by John Jackson Miller, which if you're a big fan of the Star Wars Expanded Universe, you should know him from such things as Knight Errant, Knights of the Old Republic comics, the Kenobi novel, so prolific in the EU, and even in Star Wars canon, there's a new novel set during the prequel era that John Jackson Miller is going to write, and John Jackson Miller has also wrote for comic books outside of that, and is written for Star Trek. So I don't think John Jackson Miller ever wrote a novel in Halo, but he did write this short story. It follows this Forerunner named Adequate. Funny, because he's adequate at his job, but he's nothing extraordinary. Basically, he's on this like gas research station. It gave me the vibes of the Halo 2 mission with the Arbiter, when he's looking for the heretic, on that sort of structure. And there's this avian species, and it might have been, because this takes place like right near the end of Silentium, like in a different part of the galaxy. And these avians, you know, they're a really amazing species and everything, and there's speculation either the librarian didn't have time to index them, or because of the gas giant and everything surrounding that particular area of space, is too dangerous to try to move them, so they just left them be. But we learn that on the station the Flood have started to infest it, and if Adequate does not do the proper things here, and the Flood gets access to the avians, then they will never need to invade a planet again. They can just fly their ships into a planet, drop Flood-infected avians down onto the planet, and whole wide world infection. So it is Adequate's observer's job to stop it, and he does manage to do it. He defeats the Flood by using some self-destruct things and whatnot. Him and his Insilla survive. The avians kind of save them, is this whole thing. But it's kind of bittersweet, because he's like, yeah, he can live happily ever after now. He won't be able to leave the station, but the Flood has been purged. There's no threat to the galaxy in terms of them infecting those avians, and he can just live peacefully for the remainder of his lifespan. The issue is this takes place near the end of Silentium, so the Halo rings are going to be fired. So no matter what he did, even if Adequate had failed in his mission, the world would still be safe. But he didn't know that, because he's just like an average Joe in terms of Forerunner status anyway. And so he gets to have a fun little adventure saving the day. But it's really bittersweet, because in the end he's just gonna die. So, kind of depressing. But that was the short story, and it's take you about, it's like 50 minutes maybe, if you're not speeding through it, and it's pretty decent. So, recommend it. The Cradle of Life was part of this Iris campaign for Halo 3, but this stuff would technically take place around now. So there's just this ancient human on Earth, and he's seeing a bunch of Forerunner robot technology start building some buildings, and that's really the extent of it. Also, for Halo 3, there was this whole internet campaign called Iris. I'll leave a link in the description of that as well. And it just has some really cryptic, scary messages about the Forerunners and how the Flood consumed, and they will consume again, and this is a repeating cycle, and is there any way out? And it's very ominous, very disturbing, very unnerving and scary, but really fun to listen to. So overall, that's about the gist of that. And yeah, this was a collection of shorts that you could kind of check out around this time period. But as best I know how anyway, as I steal from Matt Wilkins. But that's pretty much it for today. Until next time, guys, let's finish the fight. Bye-bye.